Welcome to the LDA Podcast, a series by the Learning Disabilities Association of America. Our podcast is dedicated to exploring topics of interest to educators, individuals with learning disabilities, parents, and professionals to work towards our goal of creating a more equitable world. Welcome everyone to the LDA Podcast. I'm here today with Monica Berg and her daughter Abigail, who both wrote The Gift of Being Different, which outlines Abigail's journey with dyslexia. Thank you both so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
Of course. So I'll start with Monica here. Could you share a little bit about your background? And then Abigail, I'll give you a chance to tell us a little bit about yourself.
I do many things. So it's when I get asked that question, I'm not really sure where to start or end. I am a teacher, author, mentor, sister, wife, mother. I speak to thousands of people around the world in the intention of helping people really make sense of their lives and live one that they feel is working for them, where they seek to transform and change because they understand that that is the way to true happiness and fulfillment. And as a mother, I'm very inspired by my children. So segueing into writing children's books was a natural next step as well.
All right. Well, and Abigail, what is it that you like to do? What do you have? Do you have any favorite subjects in school or any activities that you like to do?
Well, I really enjoy math. Is one of my subjects in school. But outside of school, I have like hobbies and writing this book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, for those of us who haven't gotten a chance to read The Gift of Being Different, can you share a summary with us?
So we started writing a different book first, but then in the midst of that, Abigail was having trouble in school and the teachers were a bit perplexed because on one hand, she was struggling with reading and writing in the second grade. On the other hand, she was able to excel in critical thinking and abstract thought well beyond her peers. So we finally got her tested and we realized that she had dyslexia. And I was trying to find a way to share that with her. I really wanted to pose it in a way that I saw it as it's a gift. You just have to learn how to use it. And this is information that you are having about yourself, which is so great because now that you're learning more about yourself, then you can help grow, learn, be in those ways. So before I was able to share with her, she came and asked me that question that's in the book. Mommy, do I need so much help, extra help because I'm stupid? And I said, of course, you're not stupid. You're exceptionally intelligent. And then basically that conversation that was so powerful, where I was able to help reframe this for her. Within 48 hours, she had already identified it as her superpower. And she ran around to everybody that she saw saying, I have a superpower. It's called dyslexia. What's yours? And I thought, wow, if she was able to do this, which is a testament to who she is, and also I think the way that my husband and my parent, then we could really share this for the world. So the writing of this particular book, because it's a series of 10 books total, but this was rather quick because it was so personal for us.
But I think another thing is when we were, I don't know, I just find this interesting, but when we were picking the name, like you said, like we started out like thinking about the book differently and then we changed it a little bit. So the name was going to be like kindness is my superpower or something like that. It had the word kindness in it. Then we decided that we wanted to change it because then we switched the book and we switched what it was about. And we're going to do dyslexia is my superpower. But now the book's name is The Gift of Being Different. And the reason for that is when we were just doing the whole process and everything, obviously at the beginning, we thought like, how many kids feel this way and still are like, feel this way and they don't have a book. So that's why it's the gift of being different, because everybody's different and not everybody knows. So saying the gift, like dyslexia is my superpower would mean like, that's my superpower. And like, it's only like,
it's limited.
Yeah.
We actually, the second book, which was the first book, is kindness is super powerful. And even that now is a different title. So, and then it was The Gift of Dyslexia. And we thought, wait a second, the real message, the bigger message that we want everybody to understand is that we are all different. And if we stop trying to create a world where everybody has to conform and think they have to be exactly like everybody else, because if not, you'll be ostracized or ridiculed, or you'll feel alone. And we play this game, this facade, right? And how boring really would it be if everybody was the same? First of all, it's an impossibility. Second of all, it would be boring. So I think this book became much bigger than dyslexia, I think, to Abigail's point.
Yeah, that's a great point. Well, and to touch on a little bit, you mentioned a bit of how you decided to start writing. Could you talk to us a little bit of what that process was like? Abigail, what was your role versus Monica? What was your role?
Well, I feel like in the book, it also says on the cover that I am the co-creator or the inspiration, because what we both have very different parts in the book, but also very similar, like our personalities and stuff. And we like worked through this book together, and it was my story, but you helped me reframe it for what it was. And so I think that I helped with like looking over it and like help like put the book together, but you wrote the book. But I was the inspiration. I had the story, but you.
I really love seeing things through the eyes of children, especially this one here. And I like, if I would say something or I'd ask her opinion, I'd like that she would challenge that sometimes, or she'd ask a further question. And I'd be like, well, we need to unpack that a bit. For me, again, I've written 2 other adult books. This is my first children's book. This is much funner. I like telling the story this way. It's short, it's concise, it's fun. And of course, you can rely on illustrations to tell parts of the story that are better seen rather than heard. And then other things need to be said, right? And so it's that great kind of like marriage between the two, which was really fun for me. And also being on the tour now with Abigail, it's an extension of that writing process. I think we really are a great team. Out of my 4 children, I think she's the most similar to me, but we're also so different. And it's that difference that is also very exciting for me. I love, again, just seeing things through her lens as well.
Absolutely. Well, Abigail, this is your writing debut too, isn't it?
Yes.
All right. That's so exciting. So what was that like going through all this for the first time?
Well, definitely exciting. And I really enjoy it because when like we also go to like schools and stuff and we have the book there, I like seeing like how the kids like will like if they ask questions, or I see how like their reactions are to the book, because they're always different, right? Because everybody's different. And I like seeing that, and it's very exciting for me because I like seeing how they're like, oh, like they're starting to realize it, and it makes more sense now. They're like, and also just I've heard stories and things about people who just received the book and they're like, this, I wish I had this when I was a kid and stuff like that. And it makes me really happy that they have the book now.
Absolutely. Well, we touched on this a little bit, but I'd love to go more in depth. So Abigail, what were you thinking when you were first diagnosed with dyslexia? And then Monica, what were your thoughts during that?
Well, when I first found out, I wasn't absolutely like believing that like I was smart and this. I feel like we had to go more into it. And then I was like, it says in the book, like I was like, and then I was like, oh, this is my superpower. But I didn't really think it was yet. And so I feel like I was pretty like, I was like, I don't know. And then I was like, this is my superpower.
I think part of it is, words take different forms and meanings from when they were created to, thousands and hundreds of thousands of years later. So difference has kind of a negative connotation. Disability, for sure, is references an inability usually. So for me, the most important thing was to frame it exactly as I saw it, that this is something unique about her. It's information she now has access to. That's really powerful. And by the way, it's pretty extraordinary. We just need to find the right people to teach her. And not everybody knows how to teach somebody extraordinary like her, right? And then, of course, you can take that to everything. So it's a life lesson. And it's something that I wanted to teach her, in so many ways. For me also, my second son was born with Down syndrome. So I had a whole schooling in differences way back then. He's almost 20 now. And he is 20. And I remember at the time, especially the doctors, they said really horrible things like, you should just not expect very much. He won't be able to do this and that. And the list was very long. They never said all the things that he could do. And so what I decided when he was about a year old is that I didn't want to hear anything negative. I said, unless it's harming him or I need to know something I need to do, I don't want to hear it. And it turned out to be the best thing because I've raised him like I've raised all my children, and he's exceptional. So when Abigail got this diagnosis, I was like, okay, there's no way that this is going to anything other than what it is, which is, again, information about you and how you learn. And it's not a limitation at all. I mean, I see so many people who are neurotypical, and they limit themselves all over the place, right? Like low self-esteem. I can't achieve that. I can't do this. So you don't need a label to be able to do something or not be able to do something, both positive and negative.
Mm-hmm. Well, I wanted to touch on that a little bit more too. How would you recommend that parents can go about framing a learning disability diagnosis so they can help like you to see the positive and not hear the negative as much?
Yeah, I love that question because I think for sure it starts with how the parent feels about it, right? And a lot of times parents struggle when they learn anything other than normal, or perfection. And then they hear these things and they become frightened. So if the response is fear-based, then the child's response is going to be fear-based. And then instead of focusing on the solution, you're only seeing it as a problem or an issue or an obstacle. So I would say to any parent, first, you have to really reframe what you think about it. Often you probably have to go back to your own childhood experiences and think about how you feel about yourself, right? I think only really somebody who is fully healthy and loving themselves, and that's a life lesson, right? That's not something that we're born with it, we lose it, we need to find it again. But I've done that in my life. So I think that's the first place. So I was super clear that I was super clear with the message I wanted to give her and really what I believed, which was very positive. I also wanted to hear her negative thoughts around it, so then I could help provide a different voice for that. But again, one that I believed in. If I just gave her, saccharine words that didn't have much merit behind it, then she wouldn't believe me anyway. So I think the person first has to really become clear on it in a positive way, and then they can help their child.
I think that's great advice. So Abigail, you were able to find your superpowers pretty quickly. Can you tell us about what your superpowers are and how you got to find them?
So my superpower is dyslexia, but we're gonna go like into what dyslexia is. It also says in the book, but what it is it is first it's off. It's thinking everything in like oh, you have a very good imagination, and if you look at a letter like a W, let's say, then for me I'd see it as maybe an M or an E, like that, or with numbers, so like that. And another thing is, so I'm very imaginative. I think with pictures instead of words. And there's also like a level, like not level, but like a scale kind of like where you are like on dyslexia. That's kind of what it is. And how I found my superpower is me and my mom have very interesting and like conversations and personal, and so I think that really helped me to talk to my parent. And then once she knew how I was feeling, she could help me.
So we also did some research. I wanted to learn about how she learns. I didn't know, right? So I researched it, and then when she started to question how this was a superpower, I was like, well, look, these are all the great things that this is what they say about dyslexia. And we referenced a book called The Gift of Dyslexia. And we found other really great innovators and thinkers that had dyslexia. So I wanted her to be able to see that it's whatever she wants it to be. She's very curious. She is able to see solutions to problems most don't, because she learns differently. And also she has to work extra hard to grasp the things that come naturally, just in terms of even reading, right? Or letter recognition or structuring sentences. That extra effort and steps that she needs to go through actually makes her more prepared for problem solving. So it is absolutely a superpower. It's not, anything less than that.
Like thinking about a superpower. It's the thing that we thought we were the worst at, and then somebody or the self redefines that for yourself and realize it as the thing. Like for superpowers, it's like like people think of it as like magic. Like if you, let's say you're super good at soccer or something like that, you might think that's your superpower. But you have to rethink about it and think about it as what you thought negative about yourself, and think that as your superpower.
Right. Right. So whoever, when we've gone to different schools, the children asked us, how do I find my superpower? Or they asked me, what's your superpower? We know what Abigail's is. And I said, I think my superpower is being able to help people recognize their own superpower, right? But I didn't come into the world like that. I had to really learn to appreciate that about myself. And I shared with kids that it's usually, to Abigail's point, the places that you hide about yourself, your uniqueness, sometimes where we feel shame, because again, we want to fit in. That's usually an indication that there's something really powerful for you there. And if you, again, can reframe it, own it, personalize it, then you'll be able to find the strength in it and really shine.
It's really true. So what advice would you give to parents whose child has recently received a learning disability diagnosis? You had a great explanation on how to help explain it to your child. Do you have any other advice that you'd like to share?
Yeah, I think research, get them the support that they need. And there is always support. There's always a solution. So you are first, you're empowering them with conscious wise, right? With their mind. And then you're giving them the tools on how to actually grow into the superpower.
I'll get answers from you both on this question. So what do you hope people will take away from the gift of being different?
Okay, I'll go first. You want to go first?
Yeah, I whatever you want. So I think that the main message was definitely that what I want for everybody to realize from the book is that every single person in the world has superpower, and they can have more than one. Like there was one girl that said she had two. What was it? And another thing that I want anybody to know about the book when they read it is that like when you think about the word differences, you probably think like that girl has red hair and I have brown hair, or like something like that. But a difference isn't something that makes it, it's not something that you think that everybody else is the same and you stick out because you have that. It's because everybody's different, and this is the thing that makes you different from everybody else, which is why it's your superpower.
I would say that, so I think another really powerful message in the book is that Abigail was able to co-create, author a book before she could read or write. So it really starts with an idea, with the belief in yourself, with getting the support you need, and anything's possible. So really often the only thing that stands in our way is our limited beliefs about ourselves. So again, it doesn't matter if you have a name to how you feel different. Allow yourself to reveal your true potential.
Absolutely. Well, it sounds like this message is already reaching people already. People who said they wish they had this book when they were younger, and you guys were on your tours. So that's really awesome. Abigail, you're still so young to be able to create this impact. It's so inspiring.
Thank you.
So you guys had mentioned that there was another book that you had started to write. Do you both plan to write any future books, either about dyslexia or other than dyslexia, another topic?
Well, it's actually a series of 10 books on being. The second book, Tale of the Other Glove, is at the Illustrator as we speak. So, and we have all 10 written and identified. 6 of them are written, 4 are outlined. Yeah, we plan on keep sharing our message.
Yep.
Yeah, that's great. So how can people find The Gift of Being Different to buy, and where can they get updates about when your new books come out or what you two are up to?
So you can go to Amazon. And it's also sold at many local bookstores. You can visit rethinklife.today. You can also purchase it there. That's my blog. And all of our information about future books will be there as well. And also you can follow me at Monica R. Berg 74.
Thank you for listening to the LDA podcast. To learn more about LDA and to get valuable resources and support, visit ldaamerica.org.